Hello everyone, this is Anna from our Paper Paradise, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this snowflake. Snowflakes are a great project for beginners because they allow you to repeat the same shape over and over again, so you are practicing your shapes all the time. In this kit you will find that you have the instructions, 2 packs of strips, a little circular template, 2 size coil templates, and the ribbon. Now you will also need some glue. I use Elmer's glue all. You don't need a container like this. You can just put your glue in a little plastic container or a plate, and then use a toothpick to apply it. You will also need a quilling tool, and optional is the cork board or some kind of foam core board where you can put this on top, and pins, and these are going to be pinned in there. This is optional, but if you're just starting out, it will help you put together the snowflake. But we'll get to that when we get to that. We will start by removing the little container from the pack of long strips. You'll notice there's a bunch of tiny little white strips and a longer one. You're going to start with these guys. They're going to make the center of the snowflake and these tiny little dots that you see around here. And this is the easiest shape in quilling to make. It's called a tight coil. To make it, you just take your strip, you slide it into the slot on the slotted tool, and now you can start curling away from you or towards you. It doesn't matter how you do it however it feels better to you. To me, I tend to do it away from me. You can see how I'm holding the strip. These 2 fingers are just lightly holding it, and this is just helping it rest there. There's hardly any tension on this. And then I'm just rolling. When I reach the end and there's this little bit, I take my glue, I put it right there, and I close the loop. So here we go. We have our first coil done. This is a tight coil. If the tips of the coil are coming out, you just place it on the table and press it down, and it will align just nicely. Now with the little tiny strips, we are going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to start, put it on the tool, start coiling. Once you reach the end, put some glue there and close it. You might have to hold it in place a little bit just so make sure it's closed. Take it off. You have another tight coil. I'm going to do the same for these, and we'll talk again once I'm done. And we're done with these guys. We're just going to set them aside for now. Now you'll notice that I'm working with hot pink here instead of red. It really doesn't matter the color you use. The white parts are the same regardless, and whatever other color you use is going to be where the reds are supposed to be. So we're going to now start the big strips, and these guys are going to be turned into loose coils. So they start exactly the same way as the tight coils. Just slide the strip into the slaughter tool and we start rolling. These ones we're not going to glue when the end comes. So once it reaches the end, we are going to take it off the tool, and then we are picking up the largest template here, and we are going to put our little new made coil on top of it and let it open up. And you see I'm using my fingers to kind of let it expand to the same size as the one on the bottom. And once it's there, I take that one away and I hold this one like that to make sure it doesn't open anymore. Pull the little tab, put some glue in there, and close it shut. Hold it there for a second or two, make sure it's glued, and there you have it. These are also super simple, and I'm going to repeat the same process with all of them until we're done with these strips, and we'll talk after that. So this one, I didn't hold it long enough, so it opened. I just pulled the tab, and you see as I pull, it's becoming smaller again. I grab it and just let it expand on top of that one. Now it's the same size again. I put the little bit more glue there and close. So make sure you hold them for a little bit, or you'll have to do that. Okay, now that we have these guys done, we are going to proceed with the rest of the strips. Just took them out of their cartridge. And these guys, we are going to do exactly the same process as the loose coil. However, instead of the bigger template, we're going to use the smaller template. And these are all going to be tight or loose coils, small loose coils. And since you already know how to do these, I'm going to do the first one just so you can see, but same thing, put the strip in the tool, start curling it, curl all the way to the end, pull it out, use the little template to let it expand until the same size, take it out, put that little tab, put some glue there, close it and hold, and you will get a small coil. So in order not to bore you to death, I will be doing these at fast speed, and we'll talk to you at the end. couple of things I wanted to mention. You might see me rubbing my fingers now and then. That is to get rid of any dried glue that they might have on there. You can also have a damp towel next to you and just clean your fingers like that. I just don't like to stop and do that, so I just rub my fingers now and then. The other thing that I want to mention is usually I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to making quilling coils. So long as they are approximately the same size, it's fine. But in this case, since it's a circular pattern, it looks better when all the coils are the same size. So take your time, don't rush it, get everything nice and pretty, and you'll get a better end result. And now onto the white strips, which are exactly the same as these guys. So I'm just going to continue doing them. Now that we got all of these done, the hard work is done, really. Now the fun part starts. You might be thinking, Anna, I just did all this work and these guys look nothing like this. That's because now we need to shape these guys so they look like these. Most of the shapes in quilling start with a loose coil, which you then shape to become different other forms in the quilling realm. So we are going to do that right now. I'm going to separate these guys except for, see, 1, 2, 3, 8. We're going to take 8 of them and put them over here, and the rest is going to be on the side there. All of these are going to be the same shape. As you can see, the big ones are this shape, and then you have these guys and the white ones that are the same shape. So now we're going to learn how to do that shape. It's very easy. We start with a coil. I like to hold the center of the coil and kind of twist it a little bit, because if I let it loose, you might notice that it accumulates the circles on the edge, and I want those a little more well distributed. So I hold the center and turn it until I have a nice distribution there, and then I'm going to put my fingers on each side and kind of pinch while holding the center on that side. And I don't know if you noticed, but I made sure that that edge right there is where the edge of the paper is. So I like to hide this edge somewhere. in this case on that edge. So this is a teardrop shape. It's not quite that yet. Now we hold the center again and we push it to the side that had been pinched, and we pinch the other side. Now we have an eye shape. If the coil is very well distributed already, you can get away with doing this simultaneously. So you just grab it like that and pinch both sides. But that's about it, and I'll show you how a tiny one is done. Same thing. I like to hold the center, make sure it's going to be pinched there, pinch one side, pull it over, pinch the other side, and we have a tiny eye shape. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to do the same for these guys, and we'll talk at the end. Now these are done. We are going to move on to these little guys. Bring back all of the white ones left. And this one is pretty simple as well. We are going to do the same kind of thing. We're going to hold the center, kind of rotate it a little bit. And we're going to pinch one side, making sure we hide that edge there, or trying to. And we get a teardrop again. But this time we're not going to pinch the other side. We are just going to hold that point there and give it a twist. And we get that shape there. We're going to repeat this for all of them. Alright, now we have shaped everything. The fun part is going to start. We are going to start to assemble this. And since this is going to be the first time for you doing this, I highly recommend you get some sort of corkboard backing that you can pin your materials onto. Let's see. I'm going to take the biggest tight coil, take a pin, and I'm going to put it in the center of our little grid. Let me rearrange a few things here. So this is in the middle. Now around the center we are going to put the big eye-shaped coils. They all need to fit around this, and to make sure they do, we're just gonna loosely arrange them there before we glue anything down. And this is something I always advise my students to do, is when you're just starting out, and even when you're already more proficient in quilling, it's a good thing to just arrange things like you want them to be before you glue them, just to make sure everything fits together, everything looks nice, all of that stuff. So since we have these markings here, we can use them to align the petals. Now if you find that these guys are not fitting together in the center very well, you can always bring them out and squish them more so they fit, or if they're too squished, you can always push them like that to make them a little fatter. It's all about manipulating your creation so they suit what you're doing. Don't be afraid to work with the paper. All right, now we've seen they fit nicely. Just going to squish this one a little more so they are a little more like the others. And I'm going to start gluing them. To glue them, I'm just going to put some glue. This happens sometimes when your glue is out too long. Just take a pin and unclog. Put some glue on that edge there. And bring it down against the center part. Take a pin and put it there. Now for the next one, I'm going to put the same glue there, but oops, same glue there, but I'm also going to put some on each side of it. And I'm going to bring it in next to the one we already put down and bring it against the center one and use a pin to secure it. Now you've noticed that they're moving around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another pin on this side of the coil. That way they will not move around as much. And don't be afraid to actually unpin and pin again what you're doing, because until the glue is dry you can move it around. So this one, put a little bit of glue here, bit of glue on the side, and we're going to bring it in against this guy. Pin it down, and I want to pin it in between those two. Alright, these guys are going to go like that, and then this guy's going to go like that, and these guys are going to go in the middle. Make sure everything is touching in the middle, and as you are gluing more things down, press these guys down to make sure it's all leveled. Sometimes it's hard to get in there, so you can use your quilling tool and just press everything. The more you work things around, the harder it's going to be to get in there because of the pins, but that's something you need to learn to work around, because the pins really help you if you're just starting. Otherwise you'd have to be super careful to just put the glue on your shapes and slide them gently and leave them to glue without fiddling too much with them. And I've done that many times before, so I'll just exemplify this one. I just laid it against there, didn't put any pins on it. This guy is going to go on its side. Put some glue. I hold this guy down, kind of slide this one in there. Make sure it's touching. Same with this one. Put some glue and slide. So you have to have a more delicate hand if you do that. but if you have the corkboard and the pins, it's a little easier. Alright, now that we have a beautiful flower in the center, what comes next? Next, it's the small tight coils. And these are going to go in between the petals. What we do here is we take our glue and we just put a bead on each side of the petal there. Let me show you there, hope you see it. And then you take one of the tight coils and you just let it slide in there. You don't need to push it much. You just need it to slide in there. And you go around and do the same for all of them. And you see the lines, so I'm trying to get them more or less along that blue line there that we see between the petals, just so it's symmetrical and nice, no other reason. And if you need to put some pins on there in order to achieve that, just go right ahead. Doesn't seem like I'll need for this one, so I'm not going to put any more pins. Next step, these curved little guys. These go on the top of the petals on each side like that. Now you might need some pins for these ones, just make sure they're secured. But to start with, we take one of them, put some glue all the way to the curve up to here, and lay it down. Take another one, same thing, and lay it now next to the other one. Now, to secure it, you just put a pin to make sure the tops are touching. And if you notice that the bottoms are coming away from the flower, you can put pins in there too, like so. Usually I don't need to, but sometimes it happens. So if you feel the need, put the pins there. And you just continue all around until you run out of these guys. It's pretty much the same thing. Now that our snowflake is looking like a porcupine, we need to press everything down, make sure it's all leveled. And we are going to do the final shapes. So these guys make a kind of a threesome there. And what I like to do is put them down all at the same time. So I will take two of the color and one white. I will put some glue on the top of these guys. I will bring these ones, forgot, put some glue on one of these too. Bring these guys together against that glue. Make sure they're more or less centered. This guy, I'm gonna squeeze it a little more. I'm gonna put some glue on the edge there, and then I just slide it in between those two. be careful when you're doing it not to push too much, or these two will split. So we want it in there, but if you must push, hold these two in place as you do it. So we got one done. The others are the same exact thing. And that is it. You've done it. Now we need to let this dry pretty well before you take out the pins. But once you reach this stage, that's all you have to do. And then you have your little ribbon, and this just goes in one of these holes here, and then you tie a knot. There's nothing special about it. Something else that you can do to your snowflake is add some glitter to it, or add rhinestones to it. You can embellish it as much or as little as you want, but that's up to you. Doesn't come with a kit. I don't think the post office would like me very much if I shipped glitter. And that is it. Once the snowflake is all dry, you'll have to remove the pins, and to do that you have to be a little bit careful. So I recommend that you put your fingers covering the area where you're going to remove the pins, and then just pull out, because if you don't, you might drag some paper with it, and once the coils come out, they're really hard to put inside again. So just put your fingers like that and pull the pins gently. Everything should remain where it is. And there you have it, your new snowflake. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please share your results with me. Thank you.